We're back. Episode 2 of Series 2 of Dirty Talk. Welcome everybody viewing so far. Sorry to keep you waiting a little bit. We've had to catch up with these two guys that we're bringing on tonight. As you can see, a couple of Dakar riders. So, got to give them time to rest. I mean, Jesus. I've been talking to Neil in our little green room behind. Fascinating stuff. Can't wait to start talking to him. Sam's just popped up. He's had a busy day, as you would be, running around doing all these things. So, basically, as you can see, tonight we're going to be talking Dakar with Neil Hawker and Sam Sunderland. Get your comments coming in because we can all see them. We've got one already. Let's see who's. Let's go, boys. Manuel Medina is getting impatient. Quite right, too. So let's hear your comments. Listen, this is a fascinating subject matter. I don't know enough about it, which is why I'm really excited to get these two on. So if you've always wanted to know what actually goes on at a Dakar, don't be shy. Hit us up with some questions. Just punch them in, whether you're watching on our Facebook channel or our YouTube channel. We get to see them. We'll pull up the best questions and hopefully these guys can answer them. So without further ado, let's get them in. First of all, because he was the first in the queue, let's bring up Mr. Neil Hawker. There he is.
Hello.
Casting a shadow like he has been for the last 3-4 weeks in the sun. And let's bring up factory Red Bull KTM racer and previous Dakar champion Sam Sunderland. There they are. Evening, fellas. Thanks for your time. Really appreciate that. So, right, listen, I'm very much a novice to all this. Sam, we followed your obviously career with it with great interest, and you've won it, which is just a massive achievement. You didn't come a bit short this year, but still. But Neil, well, I'm sure it's the same for Sam when he did his first one, like a bucket list thing. But geez, you've gone over there full privateer. Just tell us what it was like, what it actually felt like when you finally got up on that stage, recorded your name, you're underway after all that work to pull it together.
Geez, I don't know where to start really. It's not just been a 2-week race. It's been 5 years in the making. It should have been 4, but I crashed out last year, breaking my arm, ribs and my head, and it's just rubbish, and it makes it out like so much sweeter this year just to get over that finish line. But what a feeling just to this year, especially just to get there, was a hell of a journey. It was crazy. A week before I was 100% ready to go. I was like, yeah, put my slippers on, I've done all my training, I'm feeling good, my flight's booked, and then the whole world went into lockdown again, and my Saudi flight had been cancelled. So just a week before, the stress was unreal. So just to get there, I was happy. So yeah, it was a bit of a hectic journey to the start line.
Sam, I mean, obviously for you, it's a very different thing, but you must be able to relate, like the excitement of doing your first ever one. Like everything, I guess it gets much easier with, well, not much easier, a little bit easier with more experience, but you must be able to relate what Neil was going through when you first did your one.
Yeah, as much as I'm in a super lucky position now to have all the team and everyone organising a lot of things that I know need organising for me. I remember my first Dakar, I had to raise 50,000 euros or so, and trying to organise everything, and just so many things that came up that I didn't even think about. And yeah, for sure, it makes me feel lucky now. Like, of course, I had to work hard, and but I'm grateful that I went through that to kind of appreciate what I got now. But yeah, you missed out a huge part when you said privateer, because what Neil does is unreal. He's in the class called Malimoto, and sleeping in the tent every night, come back and work on your bike, and I can't imagine to do the same as what I did and have to fix the bike each night. Is big respect to those guys. That after a couple of days, you see them walking around like just bags on the back.
Yeah, but I switched that around. I can't imagine going as fast as you did through them stages. I don't know the hours difference in riding. It's something like I did an extra 20 hours riding, and to have to switch that around of having, I'd say I go there to finish and you guys go there to win. It's totally different. It's yeah. So yeah, fair play.
I like that about the race. It's kind of like 2 or 3 races in one. You know, like you say, you've got the guys that are there to try and race and win and flat out every kilometer, and got pressure and team and everything else behind them. And then, you know, you've got the guys that have gone around sort of raising money and like gone for this mad life experience and like just trying to finish this crazy race. And it's quite hard to put into words how big it is from afar. You know, like in the UK, I know there's not that coverage. Like in France, there's every night I think there's an hour or so on the telly every. It's just madness. Like when you're there, you're in this big circle and you kind of don't see anything other than your bike and your tent. Or
well, that's the thing. That's honestly why it was really. I'm excited about having you both on, because genuinely, that's what you do. You underappreciate it, I'm sure. I think just the concept of it, sat at home watching in a comfy room, thinking, oh yeah, fair play. You know, they're taking a risk, they're doing this thing, but we see just a tiny little fraction of it. You know, talking to Neil before we came on there, it's just like I said, just to be able to say you've done it, let alone what result you get. I mean, Sam, you've won it. I mean, that's unreal. You know, it's an amazing thing to say. You know, that's like tombstone shit. That is. You know, like, you've done it, but.
Honestly, it was cool. This, like, the more, because there's so many guys from other disciplines, like Matthias Walkner is MX3 world champion before. We had Mayo was 5-time world enduro champion. We had Paolo Rene, MX3 world champion, 3 times enduro world champion. We got this year with David Knight, like the British boy, however many times world champion. But like, it's cool for me, the more of these guys come across and do it, because like that, other people can somewhat relate to the speed, because it used to be this like adventure across Africa with a map on your handlebars. You know what I mean? Like following the wind. Now it's like 12 days. I promise you, it's madness. You're on the limit all day. Like if you want to win, it's like playing Russian roulette all day, you know?
Yeah. Well, obviously I saw some of your social media posts throughout, particularly that stage where, you know, you had a proper perler, and then you're like, you know, backing it, not sure to back it down, go for it. That whole kind of not sure to stick or twist. And the dangers around, literally, I won't say around every corner, but because you're going flat out this straight line for so many times, but it is absolutely bonkers. And I know we all do this, all different disciplines, all think everybody other's discipline is mad, because we do. We think road races are mental to crash at 100 and odd, you know, 80, 200 mile an hour, throw themselves down tarmac. They'll look up and go, well, you lot are absolutely insane. I tend to agree with them. Then you got child riders saying, you know, it's all different, but it genuinely is. You're stuck out there with just you and your helmet. I know you've got an amazing support team around you, or you have, Sam, but then you pull away and then you're like, you're on your own. And as this, Neil, say what you said earlier on before you come on about explaining the distances do you ride in one day without mentioning the kilometers. Do it in a way that we understand, as you mentioned it before we came on it.
It's for them, for those to cover them distances, getting up at 4:30 and then getting on your bike. It's like the first, let's say the race starts in Cornwall, like Land's End, and then you ride up the motorway all the way to London, and then from London you go flat out off road to Edinburgh. It's like, and it's,
in one day,
rolling 12 days, and it's for to do that over and over and over again, it's you've got to be pretty strong mentally, because not only are you facing really cold temperatures in the morning on the road rides, and then you're really hot midday in the desert. So yeah, it's there's so we can talk for hours and hours about it.
Sure, I know we could. We absolutely could.
Self in your head, isn't there? Like
that's what I mean. You two. I mean, do your best to try and explain to us mortals who haven't done it, kind of figure out what are the mental, and obviously the mental challenges of trying to concentrate. But there must be at some point, even as confident as you are, Sam, with, you know, you're going for the wins, as you said, and you've got a bit of experience behind you. There still must be days inside in that lid with even all that experience going, I'm not quite I'm doing something wrong, I'm not really with it, you're just having doubts. There must be doubts in 12 days of solid riding that stick in there at some point.
Sure. In the end, I find that when I'm racing, it's like when someone said 3 or 2 1 go and you're off, you're pretty much doing everything you can to, as fast as possible, safely as possible, without making any navigation mistakes, get from A to B. So like you're so hyper focused in them moments that I don't have too much time to think about anything else. But I struggle a lot on the liaisons, which is like the link section, which you have in the morning or at the end, like Neil was saying, go from Cornwall to London on the road. And we've got to follow the rules of the road with the speed limits, and you can have a lot of battles with your head.
Yeah.
That is
a lot of demons going on.
Yeah.
That is honestly, that is bonkers. Just to concentrate for that amount of time and not go over the speed limit. Can you get pulled out of the event then, or like penalised if you go?
Like time penalties on your stage.
Yeah.
It's quite. It's super, like, how to say, tiring and draining, because it's like Big Brother's constantly watching over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Like, and for us, you got a 5-10 minute penalty, that can be the difference of on the podium, off the podium, and like you work all year for it. But yeah, like you were saying before, I struggle a lot on the liaisons, especially when it's cold in the morning. Like you're freezing cold, and if first bike's at 4:10, you're always awake an hour before. So we're awake at 3:10. And as Neil was saying, it's quite cold on a couple of days, or most days, to be honest. And like you're trying to understand about what's going to happen on that day, which position you start. Hopefully, you're going to catch this guy, or this guy starting behind you. And are you going to have dust? How's the stage? Is it sandy? Do I need to look after my tire? Checking your fuel calculation is how much fuel I got. But meanwhile, you're freezing to your bones and just miserable and tired, like, because it's the first days are right. You're always full of beans, aren't you? But
yeah, I should imagine.
You start having a couple of little words in your head.
I'll tell you, honestly, it is worse than even I thought. I'm like Neil said, he's done it now. It's a bucket list thing for him. I can tell you right now, this one is not ever on my bucket list. And you haven't sold it to me, telling me how early you've got to get up. I mean, I'm not a morning person. There's no way I'd do 12 days at getting up at 4. Not unless I was in bed by 8 the night before, and that ain't gonna happen.
I think, like we're speaking of the bad things and the bad moments to let you understand what we go through. But it's like, by getting through it all, now you look back and you can be proud of what you've done. And like the harder it was during the time and the more you had to overcome, the better value you've got from it. So it's like, if you're a marathon runner at kilometer 40, you're having a good time. Sure, they're like,
but that's the point. Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's a real sense of achievement. Like Neil, you were saying about before you came on, like the sense of not only did you pull it all together and arrange it all, and get to do it at the sponsors and everything like that, but not only that, you started it and you completed it, and whatever happens from here on in, you can say that you've ridden and raced and finished the Dakar. And I mean, there's a fair amount of people. There's not loads of people in the world that can say that. And like you said, I guess, for you to do it, jump in the deep end like that with no support crew, army training, because I know he was in the army, and that probably helped you a little bit, didn't he? With routine and regiment. Did it really? Did you really feel like it did?
A huge amount. I mean, to be part of the original setup there was 40 riders there this year, and you do get support from the ASO staff who organise the race. There's like a team that takes your tents and carry. So basically, in that setup, you've got a kit bag, a box, which Malay and Malay Moto come from. It's like a box riders. They say like a French word for box. So you put like little bits like tools and a few little specialist bits in there, like energy powders, and in the kit bag. And then the organisers take a tent, sleeping bag, roll mat, and spare wheels. and 2 sets of tires, and then another team carried the rest of the tires. But the problem with it, the problem going back to the army side of things is being in a routine. It really helped. So I came in every night and I was like, it's very easy to just get on your phone or do something like. But if you have a routine, right, I'm coming in, I'm set my tent up, I set my sleeping bag up, I take my kit off.
You even have to so you've been riding.
Yeah, it's a pop-up tent.
You're mental. I don't care what. I kind of knew it from working with you at the arena club. But, I mean, I don't like putting a tent up at a festival.
Yeah, well, that was one of the harder bits. But yeah, you set your tent up and then you get your kit and you air your kit out hanging on over the tent, and then I went straight onto the bike. So I worked from the ground up. So I did my wheels. So I swapped wheels to new tires, and I was lucky I didn't have to have just 6 sets of rear. I could have a new set every day if needed be. Also, then I worked my way up. So oil filter, air filter, nut and bolt check, anything I've broken that day. And then, so I did sort of the running repairs. And then as soon as you finished, I went to the rider's brief at 8. So you get a little brief about what's going on the next day. The rider's brief was pretty short. And then if I'd finished my bike by that time and I didn't have to go back to it, I'd try and go to the med center and get a bit of physio. And then from there, I'd have a shower, eat. And then the last thing I'd do is ring my girlfriend in my tent and say, I'm all right, good night. And then that was kind of my shut off. And I'd look around and like there'd be people with stuff everywhere, like kit everywhere, bikes still. There's people changing gearboxes still, and you try and help each other in that setup, but there's only a certain amount you can do. There's riders still coming in at 11 o'clock, and it's like it's kind of a selfish thing. Sometimes you've just got to put your earplugs in and get to sleep, because the longer you're out there riding or working on your bike, the less rest you get. And then, like Sam says, you're starting off the quicker you are, the earlier you start. And I was always around, so they start first. So usually I was around sort of mid-pack, sort of top sort of 40. And then, so I have a little bit of time. But the problem is, if we as riders have to do 1,000K that day, the trucks that are carrying our stuff has to do 1,000K. So then they'd have to leave at 4 a.m. So we'd end up having to get up at 3, put our kit on, pack away our tent, go to breakfast, and then sleep next to our bike for an hour in kit.
Jeez.
And then, but it was like, but that mindset of the army is like, once you're in that routine, 12 days just went so quick. It was awesome. It was
fair play. It is unreal. Sam, I'm guessing there's a contrast. In contrast, how does it work for you as a factory rider compared with everything that Neil just said?
So yeah, feel like a right twist.
No,
sorry, man.
Honestly,
making it look like you're a king now. You're a king. Yeah. Oh, now I just go back, have smoked salmon. You know,
you've got to get the difference is that there's the level of difference is huge. It's like I don't know, Paul playing Manchester United at football. There's the level of Sam's a proper athlete, and I've a massive respect for all of the guys.
He's getting embarrassed.
in the top 20, and there is I'm going to finish, and I've just brute ignorance. Sometimes I'm just have that routine, and I choose to do that because my romance for Dakar started watching them guys battle against man and machine. And there's not many sports that an amateur, I'd say I'm a very lucky amateur, can do the same course, the same race as world championship riders and pro athletes. It's like the Scottish 6-day trial when you're riding the same section as Dougie Lampkin. So there's not many sports, and that having that opportunity to do it, even if you have to do it the hard way, doesn't matter. So going back to the question of having a camper, them guys do need it, because the speeds they're going is beyond me. How they can read these notes, I don't know if you can see.
Oh, we'll have a look at that in a minute. Look, he's got some.
At the speed they do is, so he deserves a camper, a physio, and a mechanic.
But now he's justified it, Sam. You can rest easy now.
the transfer after, all right?
You can rest easy. So what does it entail for you? I mean, you know, you must still have to give. Do you give feedback to obviously about the bikes performing, but obviously you don't have to turn spanners or anything.
Yeah. So basically we're up super early, 3:30 a.m. some mornings, the worst case, and then set off. Like we wake up, breakfast, get kitted up, set off in the morning. And then we were quite lucky this year because the organisers also planned to have a wagon park start, so we could take like an extra jacket with us. We could put in this little backpack that would bivouac that night. Whereas on the years before, you pretty much set off with what you wanted for the day, and that was you. Like you couldn't leave stuff anywhere, so you'd always be like cold because you wouldn't want to take a big jacket because then you ride with it backpack back your jacket. So yeah, do the liaison, do the stage. Hopefully it all went good. Come back to the bivouac, like the camp. And yeah, pretty much we're super lucky now. Like the rally's turned into a bit of a bit easier. Like before, we'd get our road book given to us in the evening, and you'd sit down and start painting for 3-4 hours some days, just marking the road book with all the colours that you saw Neil showing up before. They were already
Hold up, Neil.
Yeah,
there you go.
Now they're like pre-coloured road books.
Right.
That saved us like 3 hours. You know, if you've got 400 kilometers of notes, is a long time and do modifications. So like I said, now we don't have to do that.
Wow.
So just off the bike and speak to the team. If you've got any dramas from the day, mention guys there, and then we've got camper. Luckily, I share a camper with Toby Price, so I don't know. I would be better off in a tent, maybe. Big sky,
what's wrong with sharing a tent with an Aussie or American? Yeah, you know.
All right, to be fair. And then like just eat. Mostly, I just eat. You're not imagine the amount of food I eat. I'm not really a big guy, but I just eat and eat and eat and
I should imagine you do. I mean, the amount of calories you guys must burn in a day of riding is phenomenal.
I lost 5 kilograms, and I reckon I reckon
5 kilograms, not 5 pounds.
I reckon I put it back on. I mean, I had a little bit to lose anyway, but I was eating a lot, and I lost 5 kilograms.
I didn't, but I know that a friend of mine used to watch with a heart rate monitor on, and he burned 86,000 calories throughout the race.
I mean, there's doing dry January and there's doing dry January, and fair play.
So basically, then get back to the camper, eat, and then try and see the physio. If we got some dramas. I struggled with tendonitis. I never had it in my life. In like super strange place. It was like a forearm where your two ligaments cross over. Come back from day one and had like fire in my wrist. I said to we're lucky we got a doctor. I says to him, I think I've got a thorn stuck in my arm because like I couldn't. My hand started going numb, and he checked. He's like, "Oh, you got tendonitis." I was like, "Come on, how can I have tendonitis from one day?" And he's like, 800 kilometers, a long day. So I struggled a lot with that for the rest of the race. Like every day, it was real swollen. And anyway, everyone's got dramas, but this was mine this year. And
was that was probably the stage where you were trying to make up time, and you were just like that for 12 hours.
Just tape.
Oh man, I mean, it is. I wish we had longer. Obviously, I appreciate you guys coming on, and we'll maybe do a part 2 of this and another time, maybe as we edge towards if you're going to do it next year. We'll get on to talking to you about that in a minute. Got some. We had some good questions come in now. So this is obviously I thought this question would crop up. A few people have asked it. There you go. Deborah Bixter has asked, what method do you need to be on the go? And Adam Winslet from VMXDN. Also, Adam, glad that you're tuning in. What's the deal with that? Now, that's not the best subject matter, but obviously it's part of the race. What do you do? I suppose you don't have to worry about people seeing you, but you don't want to waste time either. So what's the protocol with when it comes to just toilet time?
I know a couple of riders that use the condom catheter. So they got like a hose coming out, and it goes out the bottom of the boot.
Right. Jesus, what? So it comes down. They've drilled a little hole in the bottom, the sole of the boot.
No, just out. It just comes out
the side. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
But I never really tried with that. And last year, most of my career, I just peed on myself. Luckily, I never needed to. But yeah, last year I struggled a lot with the skin on my backside, peeing and being wet and just raw. So this year I was like, whatever you do, don't pee on yourself. Don't pee on yourself. I manage it a bit better. I don't know how you go, mate.
So if you add it up over 12 days, if you stop for a wee, it's like 30-40 seconds. Especially you've got to choose where you stop, because if you stop on a fast bit, everybody behind you is catching it really quickly. So I don't know. I was quite lucky. I probably had like 2 or 3 stages where I stopped for a piss, because I could usually you get to a neutralization point where halfway through the day that you then have to fuel up the bike. So if I can last 200k, I'm all right. But once or twice I had to stop. But for my level, it doesn't really matter if I lose a minute or 2. But for Sam to lose, if you imagine if you stop for 30 seconds every single stage over 12 stages, you could lose the rally for pissing. It's like,
I know, and you don't want to lose. Clearly, you want to win, but then you're going to get asked the reason why you lost, and then you got to go. Well, I had it in the bag. Well, I didn't have it in the bag because I wasn't wearing a bag, and basically that would live with you forever, thinking, "Oh shit, I lost the Dakar because I stopped for a 10-minute pit."
It's mad.
At one time, because we have speed sections through certain areas, desert or town. So I'm like, right, I'm busting for a pee. I'm gonna pee in the speed section, so like I don't have to stop. And we're going low, so we've got a restrictor on the bike, so you put that on and it's
okay, right.
Hold it like blah, 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 blah. And I remember like managed to get my Winston out, and I'm going to pee. And I'm like, oh, this is brilliant. I'm super smart. I'm not going to pee, it's not going on my bum. I won't get a sore ass. And like, I look down and it's just gone everywhere because of the wind. And I'm like, oh, I should have just peed in my
I did try that, but I wasn't, haven't got a limiter, and I just wanted to stay at 30k, but I looked behind me and there was someone catching me. So I was like, I'm not letting them catch me. I'm not letting them catch me. So I ended up pissing myself anyway. So yeah, yeah.
You should have let him get close and do the whole James Bond thing on him, so it all just splashes in the goggle and then sand sticking to his goggles.
Yeah.
That's a see, there's all these things that I just trying to get my head around of how it all works, and it is absolutely nuts. So the pair of you, then, we said the positive thing of, like, obviously Sam, it must have been such an amazing thing to when you did win it, and you had a bloody good go at it this year, and you sort of caught up for a bit of lost time, and those last few stages you were right there in the mix. But so the reward, we talk about the reward, of doing it and saying that, it's a bucket list type of thing. Without going back to the 2 negatives this year, let's talk about this year's experiences alone. Sam, you can go first on this one. What was the hardest stage for you this year? What was the hardest day personally that you can remember of this year's race?
The day that Tobes crashed. So of course he's my mate before anything. We share a camper together, like super good mates for the last 6-7 years. And I started, I think, 4th that day. It was him, then it was Brabeck, then me. Someone else in front. It was Conejo, and we were in a super stony riverbed, quite fast, and it all just looks the same when you're going fast. Like, you can't tell too well which stones are bigger or square or round or whatever shape, and you're trying to pick a line and you know, focus as much as you can. And anyway, yeah, I arrived, and the big fella up against the bank with his bike on his side, and yeah, he was in a lot of pain, and he had a big concussion, and his shoulder was a bit knackered, and he broke his hand. And I remember his airbag was still blown up, because this year we had to use airbag mandatory, and it was blown up and it wouldn't go down. And I think with the pain in his shoulder, and he like banged himself up a bit, and he was a bit confused. He couldn't tell, like he couldn't breathe, so I couldn't let it down. So I took my Leatherman and punched a hole in it, and it went and let the air out. And yeah, like I waited around for the helicopter to come and send him off in that. And you know, like when you stop and you see someone, he was quite bad. More like he just broke his collarbone, and his hand is nothing, you know, in terms of
what could be. Yeah,
he'd whacked his head pretty good. He didn't really know what was going on or where he was, and it was a bit worrying. And like if you see someone crash on the edge, you look across, you're like, oh fucking hell, hopefully he's all right, and you crack on. But I was there with him 20 minutes, and he's a good mate. And you like sink down into that feeling of like, shit, my mate's down, he's out of the race, and start thinking this, that, and the other. And then I set off again, you know, after the helicopter took him away. And then I'm in the dust because I'd waited there 20 minutes and a lot of other guys had gone through. And I'm thinking about, shit, Tobe's crashed, and fuck, I hope he's all right. He looked pretty bad, and blah, blah, blah. And come on, focus on what you're doing, like forward, come on. And I managed to get going again, like in a pretty good rhythm. And I was doing like some good times when I checked on the waypoint. So I think I was leading the stage in that point in my corrected time after I'd stopped, like between waypoints. And then I was in off-piste section, not on a gravel track. You're in open desert, and you're always going too fast if you were to ride across there safely, so you couldn't have a crash.
Yeah.
Probably lose 20 minutes every day, but or more. So we're always going a bit too fast, and just kind of like, right, I think I'm more or less all right at this speed. Come on, keeping focus. Look down at the road, blah blah. I hit a big rock, and I straight over the handlebars at about 90, and yeah, concussion, and broke all my road book, ripped the GPS off, picked the bike up, and a bit rough, and looked at the bike, and I was like, shit, it was kilometer 260, and that stage was 470, so I had to ride 200 kilometers with no road book, no GPS. Road book kind of tells us about what's coming up, you know. So I had to wait for the rider to come so I could follow his dust, because I didn't know where I was going.
Jeez.
And then you're doing like 150 kilometers an hour in the riverbed with no information about what's coming. And this year we had a beep on the bike for danger twos, but that was broken as well from the crash. So I had zero clue of what was coming up, and thinking to myself, like, I'd seen Tobe's crash. He was in a bad way. I'm concussed, like I couldn't see super well. And I'm riding in no information, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what am I doing? I've got a baby, I've got a family.
Right, there you go. That's what I mean. It's
like the devil on this shoulder, and then it's like, come on, calm down. You've got a family at home. Take it easy. And the other side's like, I'm going to lose the fucking race. Come on.
But that's the thing. Like, see, we could just cut this show just to that segment, and that tells you everything you need to know about what you guys are taking on. It's not like, you know, the Scottish 6 day where you it's tough, but you know, civilization's just round down the road. Yeah. I mean, you guys are out there in the arse end of nowhere with things like that going on in your head, fighting that in a battle, just that. So I now, more than ever, you know, obviously when we started talking about it, I kind of got it, but that story alone now really does make me understand what it, you know, or appreciate what it must feel like when you get that thing over the line. And I guess one of the first things of when you do cross the line is more not satisfaction, you know, relief. I'm guessing, particularly like Neil, maybe for you a bit of both, because you first time doing it and you got it done, sense of achievement, but also like, Christ, I made it. I'm in one piece.
Yeah, definitely. That last 10K, I mean, it was the last stage, the last 10K of the last stage was pretty flat, and it was just coming towards, I think the organisers wanted to finish on like the Red Sea beach and have this epic finish, but I think the weather was pretty bad and they couldn't quite do that. But we were on these open plains, and I just remember the last 10K, there was helicopters flying and hovering around us, which when a helicopter's with you, I mean, Sam gets all the time. He doesn't like, he gets a helicopter following him. When a helicopter follows me and I don't pull a wheelie and get it on video, but anyway, yeah, there's helicopters, there's lined with like pockets of spectators, and they're all cheering for you. And I'm like, I looked down at the road book, I'm like, I got 10K to go. And I looked up and I could see the flags in the distance. And for me, I was like, just broke down. I was like in tears. I was shouting in my helmet like I just won. I was just like shouting. I was crying. I was like, oh my God, and it was an accumulation of 5 years of ups and downs and highs and lows and stresses but it's mad how it feels. And if I could, that feeling, if you could just take a sip of that feeling every now and again, it would be the best. I think I've heard someone say it before, just the best feeling ever, just to keep you going, because the emotion, I had to stop before I got to the end because there's loads of cameras, and I just stopped and had a wee and had a moment to myself because I didn't want to be in tears. And it was cool. I just got to the end, and then it was like, bloody hell, I've done it. I was like, shit, that's like, and honestly, the anticlimax coming home now is is horrendous. I'm like, I mean, I love being home. I'm back to my girlfriend and seeing my family and everything. Well, everybody's in lockdown, so, but it's like, geez, I want that feeling again.
Yeah, so you're not bored, but you're not bored by any stretch. But it just feels like you're missing that thing that makes you feel alive, I guess.
Yeah,
to say you've done it. Yeah. So what for the pair of you now then, Nick, Sam, we'll go to you first on this one. You know, obviously it's you've etched out a fabulous career, you know, and you've worked hard at it. And like I said, just to be a factory rider in the Dakar is one thing, to win it is another. I'm guess, you know, your plans are to carry on with this discipline of racing and try and win it again. But like you did say, you know, even you said there, you know, you get the thought of family going through your head and thinking, geez, you know, do I need to be doing this? So what's your future? Have you not thought that far yet?
Yeah, certainly. Like Neil was saying, and also this year, unfortunately, one of the competitors, French guy, passed away again, and they're trying to make it safer each year with other airbags, trying to slow down the route and making the beeps on the danger, which I think are all positives for it. But it's still that kind of is lurking there in the background, you know, and you'd just be not human if you weren't thinking about it every now and again, you know, like, especially when you're on the liaisons and you've got a lot of time to think. But before this Dakar, I didn't sign because I was not really sure how I would feel during the race. But no, I definitely got that fire still there that I want to get a second one still. And we'll probably sign up again to do next year.
That's good. Neil, what about you? You know, haven't tasted it or haven't you thought that far ahead? Is it something? I mean, listen, I know it's more difficult. Oh, really?
No, I think so. For me, it was. It's a massively selfish race. The only thing I thought about for the last, definitely this year, the last year, was 100%. Everything I did was Dakar, and it's selfish. It's like, for me, I get a massive pleasure out of teaching people how to ride motorbikes, and I'm lucky enough to have that as a job. And the Dakar's always been up there as a dream, and for me, I'd love to go back and drive a camper or be a mechanic, or do something involved with Dakar, because there's that bug and that circus. Once you're in it, it's whether you're a rider, a physio, a mechanic, a medic, whatever. It's just a buzz, and it's a 12-day mental circus that goes around, and to be part of it's cool. I'd love to, if money was no object, yes, I would love to go and do it again. But for me, it's done.
So from a rider's point of view, it's done. But so basically what you're saying, you know, you'd love to be like either on a team or whatever. All you need to do is learn how to fly a helicopter. I mean, when you was in the army, you should have joined the RAF.
Did you still the helicopter hitting the Kamaz?
No.
What?
Dude, there's a video. I'll have to send it to you somewhere on Instagram. And the helicopter's following the Kamaz super close. The Kamaz hits a jump, and the helicopter touches the.
No way.
No way.
Something Kamaz.
That's James Bond shit. That is.
That is pretty mental. Isn't it?
I have a word.
As if it's not dangerous enough. Right? No, look, this Dakar thing's not. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just get the helicopter down low and get involved.
Yeah,
Really
it's pretty cool.
That is.
I say to Geordie one day that please tell him to get away because the wind off of a chopper and all the sand blowing up. I was trying to climb like a super technical place in first gear on a trials ride, and helicopter came in. It was like blowing me across the edge of the mountain. And I'm like,
no way.
Like trying to take my hand off to wave at him, but I'm too scared to take my hand off. Yeah,
it's such like I said, it's such an amazing thing. Clearly, but we suffer in the UK with motorsport anyway. But it's definitely something that should get more mainstream media in the UK. We all know that motorcycling in the UK should get more, but this in particular. Having said that, though, Sam, your name did pop up a couple of times in our local news. Because those of you who don't know, Sam's from Poole, just down the road from me, not too far. So a couple of evenings I was there having me dinner, and all of a sudden, a little race report came in on BBC South.
Sun got lost, wouldn't it? That was the time.
Yeah, that was the time. That's the only time you got to mention when it all went wrong, not when you was doing well.
Yeah,
typical.
Normally.
So listen, as I said, this is. I mean, what I think we should do from this, because I would love to talk more. Actually, what I'm going to do is try and maybe get some more information from you two guys via our contact you email or whatever. And I think we should do a little piece on Dirt Hub, more of a written thing, and a few more Q&As with you to get some more information out, because I don't want to hold you too long. And the other reason I don't want to hold you too long, because I know you're both avid fans of motocross and supercross, and obviously the AMA Supercross has started, and I know you've been catching up to speed with it. In fact, Neil, you told me you caught up with it before you even got home, didn't you? Where did you?
Yeah, it was really cool because after the race, it's kind of an anticlimax, and we're like, just chilling out. Me and David Knight and Jamie McCanny were on the same flight, so we were in the airport watching it, like just fixated, trying to catch up onto it, and it's super exciting at the moment. And there's a few Dakar things that might go well on a few Supercross bikes, maybe a rear view mirror for Wilson, or
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
I've been like watching the Roxon and Wilson thing, and it was cool that he just went straight ahead, and there's obviously a problem with the vision of the flags or something, because I mean, I've been there, I've been waving a blue flag, and I've been on arena cross where the blue flag means nothing. So there's obviously a problem, because what's it twice now Roxon's had a problem. So yeah,
they're not waving it with authority. I mean, Neil, you at the arena cross was obviously well, you had one year where you was probably more famous than the riders that one year when you took down. I don't know if you knew this, Sam, but Neil worked at the arena cross as part of the production team and was out there on track as part of the track team. And we had a streaker one year at the arena cross, and Neil had the orders from above to take him down. It was Neil that ran across the arena, and
it was 5 years ago. I posted it this morning on my Facebook.
So go on Neil Hawker's Facebook, have a watch it. It's brilliant, and it was just a classic full-on rugby takedown. But I love the way you kind of didn't give him any hint that he was going to do it, and then like a striking cobra, just boom, down he went. But so what's your take of the Supercross, Sam? I guess, being a Red Bull athlete, do you get to hang out with any of the guys over there? You must have met some of them at some point, I would have thought, haven't you?
Yeah, when I won the World Championship, I went there to Monaco, and Cooper Webb was there when he won his Supercross title. So, yeah, it was really nice to hang out with him for a couple of days, and super down-to-earth guy. And I think he's you see that in general of him. I don't know if you saw him at the start, and he said, motherfuckers are ready for a battle.
Yeah, he is awesome. He's one of those riders, I think, isn't he? Like, you either love him or hate him. But I think he's just an out racer who just gets it done, doesn't make excuses, gets on with it.
But it's definitely looks like it's heating up to be a good one this year. And you know, hats off to the organisers. They managed to do some racing last year, but it kind of felt, I don't know, just didn't quite feel like the real Supercross every time at the same venue. And it was like, but now it seems like it's getting back in the swing of things. And yeah, hopefully it keeps moving in that direction, and all the fans will be back and should be good.
Your what you can both answer this one. What was your take on Jet Lawrence's move on Mosman? If you saw that, are we saying that's clean, or
I think I see.
Did you not see it at the last round when he went in hard on Mosman for her third? Did you not see it? Okay,
cleaner than Ashley Grady, in it. So
oh, come on, Neil, you've been involved with the head-to-heads at Arena Cross. Everything's going to seem like kiddlywinks compared with that.
Boys in the group below me when I was racing motocross, he was always like 65 and I was 85.
Who's that?
Greedy. Like I never had to break the track at the same time as him, luckily. But
Sam, did you raced? You did a couple of years of schoolboy national motocross, didn't you? Because you raced locally, Poole and Parkstone or whatever. Did you did nationals, didn't you?
Yeah, I did BSMA, KWS, Best of British. I never did BMX, and then I did. It was KWS.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then I stopped racing when I was 16. I had a big crash at Matcham's and broke both my legs and stopped.
Oh, Matcham's claiming another victim. What year did you stop racing then? Because I reckon you must have been just in the
2006 when I just after the GP, and I overjumped the finish tabletop and I shattered all my legs and pelvis. I didn't crash even, just landed pretty heavy. It was a bit of a disaster. I had a year.
But then you know that probably as hard as it is to now, that I guess that set you on your path to what you're doing now.
Lift engineer, that man. A lift engineer, Meridian Lifts.
Meridian Lifts getting some mentions there. Yeah, fair play. Why sponsor Poole Speedway when you can sponsor Sam Sunderland instead? It even works for them. There you go. Or used to. Yeah. So what do you reckon on the Supercross then? Let's just quickly, because I mean, some people won't commit to it. I notice Carmichael sits on the fence all the time. I suppose he has to with his gig. So for the East Coast then, sorry, is it the East Coast? Yeah, it is, isn't it? That's what they're currently at. Do you reckon who's it going to be? Do you reckon it's going to be Lawrence? Obviously Faulkner's gone out. Craig.
About 250s.
Yeah, 250s, yeah.
Christian Craig is really strong, to be honest.
Yeah, he does look good on a bike. I give him that.
Sure, he's going to win races, but he'll be able to string it together for the whole year because he's a bit loose. I like that.
See that? What he said there, Neil? See what he said there? He forgot there. He said that without his Red Bull cap on. Because obviously, you know, Lawrence is a Red Bull athlete, but he's whatever. But you know, I like that. That's an honest answer. And what do you reckon about the main class? I'll tell you what, it's true. It is got to be the most in-depth field ever.
It's insane this year, is it? Well, every year it's been pretty crazy, but yeah, we've got a little sort of team shithouse sort of group where we like
shithouse. Who are you going for? Come on, straight up. Go on, lay it on the line. You
I said Roxon, so I want to see him. I mean, yeah. Cooper Ware is hard not to put, like, if you want to put money down or you want to like someone you want to win, but yeah,
I'll say it now. I haven't publicly announced this, but I'm going to put mine out there. As I've asked you, it's only fair that I pick my top three. I'm with you. I'm going for Roxon, Webb, Tomac, and that's me talking about my Team Green hat on, because I should say Tomac again, but that was my prediction before we kicked off.
And what's going to happen to Barsha?
Well, I wasn't expecting him to be so good. I think he'd genuinely be in the mix, like to the end.
And then taper off.
So, who do you reckon, Sam?
I'm going Webb or Tomac because
no. There's no or. There's no or.
Tomac before. I'm going top three. So
okay.
Tomac is going to be. I got to put my money on the boy Webb. But I think Tomac will come out swinging as it gets deeper in the series. He's like the opposite of Barsha. I feel like steady start, just keep hammering away, and coming strong at the end. And
Dungeon style.
third is any man's guess, isn't it?
Yeah, it's bloody good, isn't it? Keeps
Yeah.
us entertained. But as we said, completely different contrast to what you guys do. But then, like I said, there's a mutual respect across the board. So
Sure.
listen, I'm first and foremost, I'm made up that you two guys have come on the show. So thanks for that. Really
No.
appreciate that. And secondly, obviously, more importantly, that you both survived it safely with no major injuries. How's the tendonitis now, by the way, Sam?
Still a bit of a drama. I tried to do an extreme race this weekend with a couple of mates. Johnny Walker was riding and Leon Camier, some of the road bike. And I went for a crack, but the first day we got there was -4, so that would already put a dampener on it without tendonitis. But it's just not quite ready, mate. It's still swollen and I don't think I need to get surgery on it. The doctors say you just got to rest it, so hopefully it gets.
Come out swinging next year. And Neil, you'll be there in some shape or form as a pit crew.
Yeah, I'd love to.
There you go, Sam. You need to try and get him in the door at the Red Bull KTM.
Close shop, innit?
I know he's very good. I will back him up. He was incredibly efficient at all his production level at the arena.
I've got
cross.
camper driving.
If you wanted anything done at the arena cross, Neil would sort it out. If we were low on water, Neil would go and get it. If I want to know what time the food was coming out, Neil would know. He's not. Listen, so it's not me that has got incredible admiration for you guys. Here's some comments from people that have been up there. Adam Winslet saying brilliant. I totally agree. Graham on it. There you go. You guys have done an amazing job. Gary Potts. Both guys smashed it there. They did. I think Gary means the rugby tackle here, not the Ruby tackle.
You know, Gary is the reason why I rode this year.
Oh,
One
is
of
that
the
right?
reasons. Yeah. So he's Devon. He's got a Devonshire building firm, and I wasn't going to ride after my injury from 2020. And Gary said, if I pay the first instalment of the entry, will you go? And there you go. So thank you, Gary.
Obviously, yeah, Neil. I mean, you pulled it all together yourself. I mean, so obviously, I haven't probably got time to list all your sponsors, but I'm sure you want to give them a big shout out for people that got you literally to there and then got you over the line as well.
Oh, there's hundreds. There's so many. So yeah, thank you everybody who's involved. Not just people in the industry. Just there's so many. It's from people who I know couldn't afford it, putting a fiver in, to people who've bought a bike. And it's like, for that guy who's bought the bike, I'm going to hopefully pick up the bike from Marseille in the next month.
Yeah, because you've got to get all the stuff back yet.
I've got to go and pick up. I've got to take the trusty T4 van down to Marseille, fill it up with 10 sets of tires and mousses, a toolbox, and a bike, and hopefully I can get to go ride it somewhere. Because
that's going to be problematic as well, isn't it? Obviously, with where we're at now with everything.
Yeah.
Matt, Sam, when are you? I mean, because you're not based in the UK, are we likely to see? I mean, let's just say if COVID ban was lifted tomorrow, which it won't do. How often do you get home back to the UK?
To be honest, I'm in Andorra at the minute, and yeah, I'd like to come and do a beach race. Honestly, I did one before, but I'd like to do Western.
Oh, Western, not Weymouth, local one.
I did that. I've done it a few times. I always have a good crack. Mum and Dad are always happy, but yeah, I do like the beach. Well,
hopefully that'll run then, and maybe we get to see you back in the UK for that.
Nice.
Neil will be doing that on something.
Not on the rally bike. It would just disintegrate. I'd rather do it on foot, carrying a beer.
On foot. That can be arranged. Listen, you two, I won't keep you any longer. Again, thanks for coming on. I will get in contact with you guys both, because I think we should definitely look into it a bit deeper with some maybe a podcast or a few written questions and words, and keep in the loop of what you guys are up to. Certainly you, Sam, obviously, as you go into next year, your preparations and everything. Again, so thanks for your time. I'll let you go and enjoy your evening. Go easy with that tendonitis, Sam.
Yeah.
All right. Nice one. And Neil, once again, just an incredible effort, full privateer to get it done and tick it off your bucket list. So I may see you both one day at Rogers Hill for the local GP. We'll have a face off.
Hopefully.
Okay. I can be Tomac. Right. He can be Cooper Webb, and that makes you Roxon. And we'll have a little share.
Ronnie Mac.
Well, obviously, we'll all get hammered by Shipton, who's done more laps around there than,
well, he should do, eh?
Yeah, Christ's sake. Anyway,
Awesome.
listen,
Cheers, guys.
see you later. Thanks,
See
Sam.
ya.
I know Sam out of there. Thanks again, Neil. I'll speak to you soon.
Cheers. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well done. And there you go. That was the guys from the Dakar there. Two incredible stories. I definitely want to delve deeper with getting more information out of those two, because the contrast, as you could hear there, you know, doing their thing. Sam at the sharp end, but you know, as Neil said, you know, he's earned the right to be there and going further. And then the story of somebody doing the first ever Dakar, like Neil was just telling me before we came on air, just literally like how it is, just the cost of entering a rider, and it's like another $8,000 just to have for each team personnel you have with you. So incredible effort. So we'll definitely do a bit of a feature on those guys further down the line on Dirt Hub. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that. We'll be back next Monday again. Not sure exactly who our guest is going to be, but I've been talking to quite a few names in the industry, certainly from a Supercross point of view. So maybe we'll be touching base again with that, as that's all that's going on at the minute. In the meantime, everybody keep doing your thing. You know, the sooner we try and beat this thing by doing all the precautionary things, then hopefully we'll be back riding soon. It is real. I know there's a lot of people that still probably don't think it is, but unless those nurses and doctors on TV are incredible actors, it's happening. I think we all know somebody that's died of COVID now or whatever. So let's just stick with it. Hopefully get through this all together, and then just keep looking forward to when we can get out riding. It will come. Let's get our heads down, try and get through it together. Hopefully by forums like this and chatting and keeping our pecker up, as it were. So that's it. I'm out of here. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back next Monday at 8 with some more guests, talking about some more stuff, chewing the fat on where we're at. And everybody have a good week. Stay safe, and I'll see you next Monday. I'm out of here. Till then, see you then.